Did anyone ever tell you the brutal truth about life after 80? Crossing into your 80s brings a quiet shift that few people talk about. Not the surface level stuff like birthdays or slower mornings, but the deeper, often unspoken changes. It's a time filled with both wisdom and loss, presence and distance, deep peace and sometimes deep loneliness. And if you're not prepared for some of those shifts, they can catch you off guard, leaving you wondering, why didn't someone tell me? In this video, we're walking through 5 brutal realities of life after 80, not to scare you, not to depress you, but to offer clarity because when you see these things coming, you're no longer at their mercy, you can prepare for them, and you can meet them with strength instead of surprise. We'll talk about the shrinking circles, the body that doesn't bounce back the way it used to, the creeping dependence that feels uncomfortable, even when it's necessary, the quiet way society starts to overlook you, and that strange ache that shows up when old regrets meet too much time and too little purpose. Stay with us until the end, because while some of these truths may feel heavy, they also open the door to something powerful: acceptance, resilience, and a chance to shape the final stretch of life with the kind of dignity no one else gets to define but you. Let's talk about what really happens after 80 and how you can walk through it with open eyes, steady hands, and your head held high. Number 1, a social circle that quietly disappears. One of the first realities that hits after 80 isn't physical, it's relational. The people who once filled your world begin to fade, often without warning. Friends pass, neighbors move, siblings grow quiet, even longtime companions who once called every week start calling every few months. It's not personal, it's just time, but it leaves a space that can feel hollow. No matter how strong or independent you are, you wake up one morning and realize the phone doesn't ring like it used to. The invitations slow down, the family visits grow shorter, more rushed. People still love you, but they're busy or distracted, or dealing with their own aging in different ways. And slowly, the everyday interactions that once kept your life rich with voices and laughter start thinning out. This isn't something anyone prepares you for. In your 60s and even 70s, most people are still around. There's energy, movement, check-ins. But after 80, there's a shift. You begin to outlive people. You begin to outpace conversations. And that shift is quiet. So quiet that at first you might not even notice it's happened. I knew a man named Walter, 84, who used to go to the same coffee shop every morning for years. The staff knew his order. His friends met him there without texting first. It was a rhythm. But over time, those friends stopped coming. Some passed, some moved, and others just stopped driving. One day, Walter told me, "It's strange to walk into a place where everyone used to know your name, and now you're just the man in the corner booth." The pain of that kind of loneliness isn't always loud. It doesn't always come with tears or visible grief. Sometimes it's just a long silence after dinner, or a walk that feels a little too quiet. It's realizing that the list of people who really know you is getting shorter, and you can't stop it. But knowing this reality means you can do something about it. You can open new doors even when others have closed. You can stay connected on your terms, whether through a church group, a weekly lunch, a phone call you initiate, or even a letter. Because after 80, connection doesn't come to you the way it once did. You have to go get it, and that takes courage. But you've made it this far. You already have that courage in you. Number 2, a body that stops bouncing back. By the time you reach 80, your body doesn't whisper. It speaks clearly. The little aches that used to come and go now linger. The fatigue that once passed after a nap might stretch into the next day. And the truth that catches many people off guard is this: after 80, even small health problems can change your life overnight. You might wake up feeling fine, go about your day, and by evening, something feels off. A little dizziness, a sore leg, a cough that sticks around longer than expected. And suddenly you're sitting in a waiting room, hearing words like monitoring, imaging, or possible admission. What used to be brushed off with rest now demands attention. And often, there's no going back to how things were before. What makes this stage so difficult isn't just the physical pain, it's the unpredictability. You can do everything right, eat well, move gently, get your sleep, and still feel like your body is one step ahead of you. making decisions you didn't agree to. A misstep on the stairs can lead to weeks of recovery. A stomach bug can drain you for days. And even when you recover, things don't always return to normal. Your balance might feel off. Your breathing might take more effort. The bounce back isn't what it used to be. I once met a woman named Gloria, 81, who was sharp, active, and proud of her independence. She loved tending her backyard garden, walking the neighborhood, staying engaged with her book club. But after a minor fall while trimming a rose bush, everything changed. It wasn't the injury, it was the aftermath. Weeks of rest turned into months of reduced strength. Her confidence slipped. "I thought I was just taking a break," she said, "but my body treated it like a full stop." That's the part no one tells you. At 80, rest is not always restorative in the same way. It can turn into decline if you're not careful. And sometimes, even when you're careful, your body decides to slow down anyway. You realize you're not bouncing back. You're adapting forward. But here's the strength in knowing this. You start honoring your energy more wisely. You learn to pace yourself, not out of fear, but out of respect for what your body has carried you through. You treat health not as a guarantee, but as a daily practice, a sacred one. And when you do that, even if the bounce is gone, your footing becomes steadier. You walk slower, but more aware. You rest longer, but more intentionally. And you begin to see that even a slower body can still carry a strong spirit. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 3, a growing need for help no matter how independent you are. One of the hardest pills to swallow after 80 is this. You start needing help for things you used to do without thinking. It doesn't happen all at once. It creeps in quietly, subtly, until one day you notice. You're avoiding the high cabinets. You're holding on to the railing just a little tighter. You're hesitating before getting behind the wheel on a rainy day. And even though part of you still feels capable, another part knows some things aren't as easy anymore. What makes this reality difficult isn't just the physical shift. It's the emotional one. For those who've lived decades taking care of others, the thought of becoming the one who needs help can feel deeply uncomfortable. You may start feeling like a burden, or you may begin hiding what you can't do. Skipping the grocery trip, not telling your kids you tripped, trying to fix the light bulb on your own. Even though your shoulder's been hurting for weeks, the desire to stay independent doesn't go away. If anything, it grows stronger. But the truth is, independence after 80 looks different than it did at 60. It's not about doing everything alone. It's about knowing when to ask for help and being brave enough to accept it. I knew a man named Eugene, 85, who prided himself on doing everything himself. He had lived through war, raised 4 kids, built his own shed out back with nothing but spare wood and determination. But one winter, he slipped on his icy driveway. No broken bones, just bruised pride. He didn't tell anyone, but his daughter noticed something was different. She started showing up once a week to bring groceries and stay for coffee. At first, Eugene resisted. "I'm fine," he'd say. But over time, that coffee became a ritual. And eventually, he admitted something that surprised even him. It's nice not having to carry everything alone. That's the shift. It's not weakness. It's wisdom. Knowing that accepting help isn't a loss of independence. It's a way of protecting it. Because when you allow someone to help you climb the stairs, or drive you to the doctor, or carry that heavy bag, you're actually giving yourself more years of doing what matters most. And not all help has to come from people. It can be a grab bar in the shower, a stool in the kitchen, a reminder on the fridge. These little supports don't take away your dignity. They preserve it. After 80, the bravest thing you can say might just be, "I could use a hand." Because the older you get, the more strength you show by choosing safety over pride, peace over struggle, and connection over isolation. Number 4, a presence the world starts to overlook. One of the more painful realities of life after 80 isn't about your body or your memory. It's about your presence. Slowly you begin to feel invisible. Not to the people who love you maybe, but to the world at large. The cashier looks past you to the person behind you. The doctor talks to your adult child instead of you. The server at the restaurant assumes you can't hear or think or decide for yourself. It's subtle at first, then it becomes more frequent. And even if you try to brush it off, it lands somewhere deep. Because no matter how old we are, we still want to be seen. And when you've lived a full life, worked, raised a family, made decisions, weathered storms, it's jarring to feel dismissed just because your skin has folded or your hair has grayed. What hurts more is that it's rarely meant with malice. A fast world that forgets slow steps still carries stories. A society obsessed with youth that forgets the strength it took to reach this age. And unless you speak up, you risk shrinking. Not because you've lost your voice, but because others stop listening. I remember a woman named Irene, 86, who volunteered at a local museum. One day, a visitor asked the staff a question she could have answered in her sleep. After all, she lived through that very decade of history, but the question skipped right over her. When I asked her how she felt, she just smiled and said, "I'm used to it." But there was sadness in that smile. The kind that comes from being seen as furniture instead of fire. But you are not furniture. You are not background. You are still here, still thinking, still contributing. And just because the world sometimes forgets, that doesn't mean you have to. So what can you do? You speak anyway. You ask the questions. You offer the opinions. You vote. You share your stories, even when no one asks. You stand up, even if your knees wobble. Because every time you claim your space in the room, you remind the world and yourself that you are not done yet. You are not invisible. You are a living library, a witness to time, a voice that still matters. And you don't have to shout to be heard. You just have to refuse to disappear. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Number 5, a sense of regret if purpose isn't redefined. As you move deeper into your 80s, a strange quiet settles in, not just in your home or your schedule, but inside you. Life slows. The calendar isn't as full. And with that slowness comes space, and space to reflect, remember, replay. That can be beautiful. But if you're not careful, it can turn into something heavy, not the loud, dramatic kind, the quiet kind, the "I wish I'd spent more time with them" kind, the "why didn't I take that chance when I had it" kind, the kind that shows up when you have time, but not always the energy or freedom to do the things you once postponed. This isn't something people talk about much. We celebrate the wisdom of aging, the freedom of retirement, the joy of grandchildren, and all of that is real. But so is the lingering question that often goes unspoken. What now? If you've spent your whole life working, giving, running, raising, serving, and then it all stops, it can feel like your purpose is fading with it. I knew a man named Stanley, 88. He had been a teacher for over 40 years. After he retired, he felt proud, but also strangely hollow. "No one needs me anymore," he said once. But that wasn't true. He just hadn't yet found a new way to be needed, because purpose doesn't retire. It changes shape. Maybe you don't build houses anymore, but you build confidence in your great-grandkids with your stories. Maybe you don't lead meetings, but you lead with presence when someone is grieving. Maybe you don't solve big problems, but you solve loneliness with a smile to a neighbor. The danger of regret isn't that you've made mistakes. We all have. It's that you sit in them too long without turning them into something meaningful. But when you redefine purpose, not as productivity, but as presence, you begin to realize that you still have so much to give, not just to others, but to yourself. Because the most important work you'll do after 80 may not be for legacy or applause. It may be this waking up with kindness in your heart, curiosity in your eyes, and enough courage to ask, "How can I bring light today?" Even if just a little. That's not regret, that's redemption, and it's never too late to find it. Final thoughts. Reaching your 80s is no small thing. It's a landmark built on decades of love, loss, effort, change, and resilience. But with that strength comes new challenges, some of them subtle, others hard to ignore. And facing these realities doesn't make you weak, it makes you honest. It means you've lived long enough to see life for what it truly is. Unpredictable, sometimes unfair, but still deeply worth showing up for. So which of these 5 realities struck you the most? Was it the silence that comes when your social world begins to shrink? The frustration of a body that doesn't recover like it used to? The discomfort of needing help when you've spent a lifetime being the helper? Or maybe it was the invisible feeling that comes when the world moves too fast to see you, or the ache that grows when your purpose isn't clear anymore. Whatever it was, I hope you felt seen. Because the truth is you're not alone in any of this. Not in the slowing down, not in the forgetting, not in the questions that keep you up at night or the moments that make you wonder what comes next. And here's the good news even now, even at this stage, you get to choose. You can choose connection. You can choose rest. You can choose to ask for help. You can choose to speak louder when someone overlooks you and softer when someone needs your grace. You can choose to forgive yourself for what didn't happen and honor yourself for what did. This chapter of life isn't the end. It's the deep part of the story, the part where every word carries weight, the part where small gestures mean more than grand ones ever did, the part where your presence, your patience, your perspective, these become your power. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.